right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-506-6912. 800-506-6912. 800-506-6912. That's 800-506-6912.
Want to lower your rate and payments? Get rid of mortgage insurance or get cash out? Find out about your best refinance options by tuning into the Get Mortgage Fit radio show with Alex Michaels and Carrie Kasem, Monday afternoon at 12 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday at 3 p.m., and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., where you'll learn everything you need to know about mortgage loans, today's rates, FHA, VA, and more. Call the Get Mortgage Fit Show on the Real 1100 a.m. at 800-827-RATE. That's 800-827-RATE, or visit them online at newamericanfunding.com.
You're tuned into WWE Lakeville, AM 1100.
The opinions expressed during the sponsored programs on this station are strictly those of the program hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of Beasley Broadcast Group, this station, its staff, other advertisers, or agencies.
Well, bubble back. It's time once again for the Sports Sky and so much more show, right here on AM 1100, the show that covers the field of sports and local music as well. If you're going through hell, don't stop. You can't trick God.
Which goes without saying.
I'm never getting married, and I'm never dating a woman named Amy again. Bam! Here I am married to a woman named Amy.
Good grief.
Playoffs? What are you talking about? Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That's horrible and awful mixed together. Horror, awful.
Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
Tune in every Thursday night from 7 to 8 p.m. on WWE Atlanta Sports, Entertainment, and Intellectual Station. Now, on to the show. What is up, Atlanta? It's the Sports Guy and so much more show right here on The Real 1100. We got a special guest in the studio, and I'm going to introduce her right after the song. We always start off the set, of course, with a song. And this one here is called Carrying On, Mom. I'm still carrying on as I always have done. The Sports Guy and so much more show right here on The Real 1100.
You to Just give his brother a call. I'm there as best I can. I'll even bring the band. We're here to fight for life and do with all of our might. Can't you hear the words of our song? We're just carrying on. Just carrying on. Carrying on. Carrying on the light. We'll be carrying on. Carrying on the fight. We'll be carrying on. Carrying on the light. We'll be carrying on. Carrying on the fight for life. Gotta fight for
Welcome back, one and all, to the Sports Guy and so much more show. It's a Thursday night, and that's what we do right here. And I have a special guest in the studio tonight, and I want you guys to all welcome back to the show, Alicia. How are you, girl?
Hello. It is so good to be back here with you on Thursday night.
Miss Bostic, I am so glad to have you here with me. It's always fun. She's got a bright smile, and it always lights up the room, and that, of course, is what we're all about right here in the Sports Guy. We're going to have a good time. If you got some questions or concerns or anything you'd like to call in about, 404-603-8777 is the number. And as usual, when we start the show, we always start the show off with What's Up With That?
I just gotta know, what's up with that?
Yeah. What's up with that?
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Great horny dude. What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's up with that?
Hey, dude, what's up with that?
Well, my What's Up With That this week is going out to Minnesota. Now, some things Minnesota's got some good stuff about, but they just had a mass exodus of their quarterbacks. All three of the quarterbacks who started for the past 2.5 years for the Vikings, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, who took them to the playoffs last year, and Sam Bradford, they're all gone. All gone. They're gone. That's just it. No way are they going to be back in Minnesota. And that's all because they're believing that Kirk Cousins is coming in with a 3-year, $84 million contract. That's $84 million for 3 years. So they got rid of Bridgewater, who I thought was going to be the future of the Vikings. I really think Bridgewater still has a great NFL career ahead of him if he can come back from that ACL injury that he had. Case Keenum, of course, had the year of his career last year, taking him in, and he got picked up also. So let's see. Where did they go? We went to Bradford, signed $20 million. And let's see, after 18, and he made $18 million in last year, only playing in 2 games. So he got a raise. And I think this is perfect. Baltimore safety Eric Weddle wrote on Twitter, "So dumb, Bradford has been paid more for nothing than anyone in history of the NFL." That's a pretty cold statement there, but it's pretty good there, Eric. I got to give you credit for that. Bridgewater, he signed with the Jets only to make $6 million if he makes the team this year. And they're not even looking at him to be the starter for the Jets because they signed Josh McCown for $10 million for 1 year. And that, Teddy, I hope you show them all wrong, prove them all wrong, get out there, have yourself a great year. And then, of course, Case Keenum, who did everything that he needed to do last year to get his team in the playoffs. He signed with the Broncos, who are desperate for a quarterback also. So if Keenum has another year like he did last year, and he's got a 2-year, $36 million contract. So apparently what he did last year, was good enough for John Elway and the boys out there in Denver to sign him to a contract. Now, that's what's happening is the exodus of the quarterbacks. And to me, my thing is and I know Miss Alicia is going to have some comments about this, but why get Kirk Cousins, who to me, he's got a lot of stats, a lot of numbers, but as a leader and as a person that you want leading your team into the playoffs, that's not my guy. I would take Keenum or Bridgewater over him. And Sam Bradford, he actually had his best career year up there in Minnesota before he got injured. Now, I wouldn't have gotten Bradford back. I wouldn't have brought him back. I would have maybe looked at trying to bring Case Keenum back, but I would have brought back Bridgewater because I really think that this guy is going to have a great uphill in his career if he can get the proper place. In New York, of course, New York is another place where quarterbacks go to die. So we don't know how it's going to happen there for him. But the other thing I got to say before we leave Minnesota is this is the real reason why I got talking about Minnesota to begin with. They have a law that is called the Slowpoke Bill that is going through their Congress for people that are going too slow in the fast lane. They will now be ticketed and even could spend some jail time. So that, to me, was a real reason why I was like, what's up with that? Why can't Atlanta have a slowpoke bill for our people driving slow in the left lane?
Atlanta, I almost missed the show today because I was stuck in traffic. Please, let's follow the lead of Minnesota.
Nice? I know, and you see all these signs that say, the left lane is for passing only. And these people just sit there and go slow, less than the speed limit in the far left. And the crazy part is when my wife and I go on trips, like, to Florida or something like that, we always say, right lane's open. Because everybody is in the far left lane. I mean, there's just a caravan in the far left lane, everybody going slow, and there's nobody in the right lane. So now the right lane is going to become the fast lane for people on trips. But I thought that was something that would be cool for us to be working towards here in Georgia. The Slowpoke Bill, please, please, please do something about that. Now, Miss Alicia, I know that you have a rebuttal, so we will hear your rebuttal on Mr. Cousins.
All right. This open market is the quarterback market. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Kirk Cousins has thrown for over 4,000 yards in passing for the last 3 seasons. So you're going to tell me that the Vikings, who play in one of the toughest conferences, do not need a quarterback, a dire quarterback, and you're telling me that he's not the best quarterback in the market right now to get?
Oh, no, I just meant to me, I wouldn't have gotten rid of all 3. I would have kept one of those 3 to be either / backup or to compete for starting position.
If you're spending $84 million on a guy, are you gonna keep a guy just in case? Because all of Kirk Cousins' money is guaranteed.
I know.
Now the deal hasn't gone through. He was supposed to visit team facilities today, and has not made a decision. But everyone's saying Kirk is going to the Vikings.
Yeah, and it's here. It's pretty much like a done deal. What it shows here on the site for Minnesota. I actually went to a Minnesota newspaper, and they're saying the deal's pretty much a done deal.
Well, Minnesota hasn't signed any of their own free agents.
Yeah, I
any
know.
of those guys that are on their last year of their
crazy.
contracts
And they got
because
some
they're
guys talking about
holding
retiring.
so much money out for Kirk. And so I was talking about it today, and my dad was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard,
And
which is
guaranteed
true.
money, though.
I love it.
What's that? That's crazy.
I'm the biggest Kirk Cousins fan because I think that he rolled the dice and he bet on himself, and it's paying off now. But
I
Kirk
have no
is the
problem
exception
with
to
him
the
getting
rule.
the money. I don't have him, but to me, like I said, Minnesota just had 3 guys, and granted, like I wouldn't have got Sam Bradford back. I would not have. Sam had an exceptional year. Case Keenum, wow. Now I wouldn't have signed him for what Denver signed him for because he did get a big payday out of Denver. It's only 2 years, and you know how the guys want 3+ years on the contract. So anything less than 2 years is not really a great contract in that. But I would take it in a heartbeat. That'd be easy. But like I said, to me, I would have still tried to hold on to Bridgewater in any way I could, just because now you saw how they're bringing in for a backup, right?
Tell me.
Siemens from Denver, which I know. He will. He's a terrible quarterback. So really, you don't have a backup quarterback now at all in Minnesota. And with the history of these guys getting injured up there, and I'm not saying Kirk, because Kirk has a good job of being consistent playing. He doesn't get injured very often. But for some reason, these quarterbacks have been getting injured in Minnesota. So if I'm the Vikings, you got to find somebody that's going to be able to get on the field if something did happen to the 84 man and be able to win games. Siemens is not it, man. He couldn't lead Denver with a great defense, and I didn't have much of an offense. I got that. But he would not be my backup choice for any team, even Cleveland.
Maybe they're just hoping that he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
They better hope so, because they're still going to be paying him.
That's the point. Yeah, the guaranteed, man, that is crazy money guaranteed. And I got no problem for any of these guys getting the money that they can get. I think that's what you should do. Because, no matter how much these guys are making, they're not making anything compared to what these owners are making. The owners are making billions. So a guy making $84 million, that's okay. But the billionaires aren't hurting. So I don't care that these guys go out and get these huge contracts from them. I think that's pretty cool myself. And as a matter of fact, we have somebody that's going to now talk a little bit about this money. Yes, it's time to talk about the money.
Greetings, it is I, the Count of Sky. I have left Sesame Street to become an NFL agent. After Kirk Cousins signed a 3-year, $84 million contract with the Vikings, I decided if I want to count, I should be an agent and have a couple of quarterbacks. Then I could count all day and night how much money I had. Even offensive lineman Nate Solder, who has never made a Pro Bowl, got a 4-year, $82 million contract from the Giants, so maybe I get some big boys too. I could never get tired of counting. Even the old guys like me, Drew Brees got a 2-year, $50 million deal, $25 million a year, over $2 million a month, $66,666 a day. $2,777 per hour and $46 per second. I love to count. Even Julius Peppers, who I didn't even know was still alive, got a 1-year, $5 million contract from the Panthers. So if you love to count like the Count, become a sports agent so you can count millions and nobody is trying to take your head off or try to stake you to a franchise tag. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. I love to count.
Thank you, Count. And that's the new sports agent. We'll see Scott Boras, who's got his competition now because the Count is on the job in the NFL.
I'm looking for the Count to renegotiate my contract.
Yes, I can do this. Sign with me. I will get you everything you deserve. All right. Now, we've got through with the what's up with that. Alicia is settled in. She's out of her traffic mode. Have you calmed down a little bit?
I have calmed down.
You got
It would help if we had a slowpoke law, but we're okay.
Yeah, we'll deal with it, right? So, where do we go first? Where are we going to go first?
Well, I didn't get a chance to have my what's up with that moment.
Oh, you're going to have another what's up?
I'm going to have a what's up with that moment because I have been working with you for 3 months. And I found out today that your real name is not Sky. So I just want to know, whoever you are, what's up with that?
Okay, well, there was this kid named Ken Walker who was born in Panama City, Florida. And his dream was to play Division I baseball. It took till his senior year, and it was a very much like a Rudy moment for me, I can tell you, when I went into the coach's office, and it was between myself and Scott Cody, a freshman All-American, coming in, whether we made the team or not at South. And the coach told me because of my hard work ethic and how much effort I had put in that I was going to make the team and Scott was going to be redshirted. So my senior year, the only game that I played against a former teammate was against Alvin Colburn, which Alvin Colburn was, we called him Jughead back in high school, and he played for Middle Tennessee State. We were playing against Middle Tennessee State at home game, South Alabama in Mobile, and I was in left field. We were up by a run with runners at second and third with one out and taking a walk over my head. I turned, I did what the coaches said, turn and run to a spot. I'm running as fast as I can. I get to the warning track. I look to the left. over my shoulder, and the ball is up high over my right shoulder. So I plant my foot, turn my body, jump as high as my little body can, my 5'8" frame can get up in the air. I end up catching the ball, smashing into the fence, and show the umpire that I had caught the ball, never lost control of it. The runner at second's already at home because he's thinking there's no way he's getting this ball. So I jump up, throw the ball to second base, double play, end the inning, and get a standing ovation from the home crowd. And one of my teammates said, "Man, you skied up on the ball to get that. You skied up on the wall to get it. You are the Sky Man, Sky Man." And so it stuck. I tried for 2 weeks not to be Sky Walker, but that just was not the way it's going to be. I could have been Pee Wee. It could have been much worse. So Sky was the nickname that I got playing baseball, and it stuck, and I've been using it ever since.
So when did Ken transition to Sky full time?
It was pretty much after that, because nobody on the team would call me Ken after that. It was all over, because Kenny, it's a young, youthful name. It was Kenny Walker, left fielder, but at that point after that, it was Sky. That was all they would ever call me, was Sky. And after leaving college, I ended up, going and doing Auburn baseball. I was at Auburn doing the voice of Auburn baseball when Frank Thomas was there, and then formed a band and traveled around the Southeast for 2.5 years. And Sky just fits perfectly for a lead singer. So I was like, okay, I'm Sky. I fought it to begin with, but afterwards I was like, yeah, it could have been much worse. I definitely couldn't handle Pee Wee or some of the other baseball nicknames that you get. But Sky was the nickname. Dennis Johnson, teammate, DJ, appreciate you, dude. He's the one that nicknamed me Sky.
So after the play, now you transition into music, but you feel like you are a Sky? That is indicative of who you are?
Well, I like it, too, because I got a little bit of Native American in me, too. I'm part Creek Indian. And Skywalker just kind of sounds like a good native name. But honestly, most of the times, I don't tell people my last name unless they really ask what it is. I just tell them Sky. It's Sky. Just Sky.
Because for the longest time, I thought you were Skywalker because Luke Skywalker. I thought you were I thought you were a huge Star Wars fan.
No. I mean, I do like Star Wars. I get that. And I tell people, yes, the Force is with me. But honestly, it was because of baseball was the reason why that I got the nickname, and I loved it, and I've had people say all sorts of stuff to me like,
"Thanks, Skywalker." I know. I want to call him Luke. Luke Skywalker.
Yes, the Force is with me.
Yeah, he's got all the power back there.
Yeah, and that's what. So everybody's like, "Oh, well, the Force is with you," and I always say that. Yes, the Force is with me, so I wouldn't mess with me. But it ended up being a good name. And, there's tons of Kens out there. There's tons of Kennys. There's tons of Kenneths. But there's not a lot of Skys. And, when you earn a name, I think it's better than just giving yourself a name or something like that. And it was fun. I mean, like I said, it was so when you got teammates, you know how teammates will rag you. And they were giving me so much grief for the next couple of weeks. And then I just finally just owned it. I said, you know what? It was a good play. I mean, it was probably one of the best plays I've made in my baseball career. And to do it at home in front of the home crowd and get the standing ovation was just, you'll never forget stuff like that. Things like that. It was so much fun playing Division I ball. It was everything I thought it would be, and I made a dream come true. Because that was my dream, was to play Division I baseball. And you have no idea how many people said, "You can't do that. You're too little," because I was all of 5'8", like 165 wet, and they're like, "There's no way you'll play Division I baseball. No way." But it took me till my senior year, but I did it. And like I said, that was my Rudy moment when he told me I made the team. I was just, that blew me away and made me feel so great. Coach Steve Kittrell. And the funny part about it is before I got to South, before I went down there, the year before I went down there, they had a coach that if you were not a blue chipper, if you were not the cream of the crop, you didn't even get on the field. You didn't even get a tryout. He used to play for the Boston Red Sox, and Eddie Stanky was his name, and the field is named Eddie Stanky Field. But you didn't get a chance. But the fortunate thing for me was Steve Kittrell, who was the new head coach, he had gone to Alabama to try out, got 6 swings, and was cut. Yeah, he swung the bat 6 times for Alabama at the Crimson Tide, and they cut him. So he ended up going to South Alabama and playing and doing his whole career down there and came back to coach years and years later. So he was open to the idea of hardworking guys making the team. And that's how I made the team. And it was so funny, him telling me, because we had a guy named Turner Ward, which ended up playing in the Pittsburgh organization. He's like going, I wish I could put your heart into his body. Because the guy was talented as could be. He just let his talent speak for himself. He didn't go out there and work his butt off, which he could have been even better. I mean, he made the pros and didn't even really work his butt off. So, it was just funny how things work, and everything's a matter of timing in life. It may not, had I been there a year before, I may never play Division I baseball, ever. But the fact that he came in, gave me the opportunity, and I worked my tail off. Heck, I had never played outfield before. I had always played shortstop my entire career.
Until
and pitched
that game.
Until my senior year. And he said, well, we've got a shortstop coming in. His name's Tim Becker. He's a JUCO All-American, so he's probably going to be shortstop. So I was like, well, what's open? He said, left field's open. I said, I'm a left fielder, coach. And I was very fortunate because I had Lance Johnson, who he played with the Chicago Cubs and the organization, and Mets and a couple other. But Lance was one of the greatest guys in the world because he took me under his wing. He said he was a great center fielder too, awesome. And he showed me how to play outfield and just taught me the little things that you need to do. First step is back, whereas if you're shortstop, you're attacking. It's a totally different thing playing in the outfield than the infield. And I was fortunate enough that Lance was one of those great guys.
Right.
And so I was able to play with some really good guys. Luis Gonzalez, I helped recruit Luis when he was a freshman. And Luis ended up, I call him the Yankee killer still to this day because he was the one that hit the ball off Rivera that gave Arizona Diamondbacks the World Series back years and years ago. And Luis, I still call him Lulu because that's what we called him as a freshman. You got to give the freshman a hard time. And it's always Lulu. Anytime I'd go see him, he'd always in his Skywalker, and he was just down to earth. I guess that was the one cool thing about South is that being in Mobile, hardly anybody had a big head. It was a good team atmosphere, and people like Lance and Luis, you're still the salt of the earth. Luis is going back and doing stuff at South, paying for, helping the keeping the organization going and getting everything it needs. But Lance taught me how to play the outfield, and had he not put the time in, once again, I may not been playing Division I baseball because I had to prove myself out there. And I did pretty good. I was actually put in more for defensive purposes. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm doing pretty good then. If I've managed to transition from shortstop to the outfield and they put me in there for defensive purposes, then good, But it was a big difference playing from the outfield, from the infield. And, so that's why I tell people. I said, I played my whole career as a shortstop and a pitcher. But the 1 year in Division I, I played outfield. I was a left fielder.
And it changed your life forever. You're Sky now.
Yeah, true that. And I like it. It's not a bad name. I think it's kind of unique, and the fact of how I got it. And like I said, I would have never thought of that. You know what I mean? So DJ, and the craziest part about it is DJ. He was a freshman that year, and he was one of those guys. The first thing that we did as seniors was, for any freshman, the very first rain out that we had for a practice, we would take this freshman and drag them by their feet around the whole event. It's a stupid thing.
Terrible.
I know, it's awful. And DJ's like, hey, no, it ain't happening. I mean, he was running away from us. He ran into the indoor batting cage with a bat, and he's sitting in the corner swinging at us. It was just, dude, you're just making it worse. You're just making it worse. So for this guy that we gave so much grief to be the one that actually, gave me my nickname, and to this day, Dennis Johnson has to be in my head because DJ's the one that named me.
Right, and it kind of has two meanings, right? You're Sky because you made it, you made the play, but also kind of sky's the limit for you after that.
That's true. In a way, it is true. And I like I said, I love it as a singer. It's a really good name for a singer, and I never say the Skywalker. I just say Sky. So it's like a share thing.
Does your wife call you Sky?
Yes, she does.
She does.
The only people who are family and bill collectors.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it. But
I love it.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, but so many people were asking, and I have never actually said on the air what happened, how I got the name, and like I said, you didn't even know it wasn't my real name.
I had no idea until today. But now you're a Sky to me. You're not a Ken. You're not a Kenny. No. You're Sky.
That's it. And I will continue to be Sky, the sports guy, and so much more show. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about sports. We got so much things going on. Free agency. It's the people are making some stupid money out there, and we've got what the Falcons are doing, which isn't that much. So we'll be back in just a little bit on the Sports Guy and so much more show right here on The Real 1100 AM.
Most important one of mine. Never give in, never give up, never give in, always stand up. One day you'll find it'll happen to you. Then what will you think? And what you gonna do? Never give in. Never give up, never give in, always stand up, yeah. Many years from now, when you look back and see, hope his words made you strong. Now sing them with me, yeah. Never give in, no. Never give up, never give in, no. Always stand up, never give in, never give in, never give in, never give up.
You should not have come back.
But I'm glad that you did. It's the Sports Guy and so much more right here on The Real 1100 with the one and only incomparable Miss Alicia Bostic.
Oh, you're too sweet, Sky.
I do my best. Well, folks, I tell you what, there's been so much going on in the NFL this past week. Alicia, do you have a record of all the crazy stuff that's going on so far with free agency?
You know, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
I was talking today, and I was like, it's kind of been a quarterback shuffle. I had to write down where everyone's going to be because you have A.J. McCarron, who used to be the starter for the Bengals, going to the Bills. We have Tyrod Taylor going to die, playing for the Browns. Case Keenum with the Broncos. Alex Smith with the Redskins, which is the weirdest thing to me. Teddy Bridgewater with the Jets. Sam Bradford with the Cardinals. And also Mike Glennon with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But then the Saints re-signed Drew Brees. 2 year.
I know.
$50 million.
Oh, I know.
I had no idea that he was so
breaking
old.
it down, right?
I had no idea. He's 39.
Yeah. What if you were listening to the count said old guys like me?
Old guys,
Making-
yeah, 39
making
years old, making $50 million.
Which of course I broke down into the every little aspect of it. What that means: $25 million a year, $2 million a month, 66,666 a day, 2,777 per hour, and even $46 a second.
When I die and come back, I want to be Drew Brees.
There you go. I'm telling you.
Until the Kirk Cousins deal comes through.
Oh yeah.
When I'm 29, making $84 to $6 million a year.
That's 3 years. So what is that? Eight.
He's going to come back and he's going to be 32.
Yeah.
He could potentially hit the free agent market and make
Beaucoup more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see what the Falcons do now with Ryan, since all these crazy contracts in there, because he's about up for a new one himself.
Well, that was my question because, Kirk Cousins is the exception to the quarterback free agency market. You never have guys that earn their full market price because if you are performing at your highest level, you usually don't hit the market. But Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah.
So what makes me question is, what do you do for quarterbacks that are close to new deals in the future? Talking Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan. What does this potential $86 to $84 million guaranteed deal mean for quarterbacks in the future?
I know Arthur Blank went, he had to have, because he's thinking, oh my gosh, guaranteed money for a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not, because nothing's guaranteed, and so that's going to be interesting to see how they deal with our own Matty Ice. Now, the Falcons didn't do a bunch. Well,
the Falcons didn't have a whole lot of money to do a lot.
Yeah, because they're getting ready to try to sign him. That's what they did. But they did pick up an offensive lineman from the 49ers, right? They got him.
Love it.
They needed that, because to me that was my biggest issue, and they still probably need to address it through the draft, because they were talking about picking up some guys, in the draft as offensive linemen. Some people are saying Isaiah Wynn from Georgia would be a great match for the Falcons, which he wouldn't be bad. He's awesome. So they're trying to look at offensive guards, maybe picking some up in the draft. They still need a right guard. They have to find the guard situations. I think they're good in the tackles, and they're awesome at center. But their guards really last year, especially the right guard, was the main reason why that Matty Ice did not have the time to pass.
Right.
And everybody's blaming the offensive coordinator, but if there's no pocket, I don't care who the offensive coordinator is, it's going to be difficult to run your plays without a right guard. So that needs to be, to me, the number one priority as far as so they did pick up a guy that could possibly fill up that role in free agency, maybe.
Well, adding to the veteran line, he's a 7-year vet.
Yeah.
So I think that you can't discount experience, especially on the line. But I was looking into it because I was like, wow, this guy's kind of old. Mm-hmm. But he started 83 of the 80 games that he started 80 of the 83 games that he has played in. And according to Pro Football Focus, he got a grade of 76 last year. And just to kind of put that into perspective, Angelo Ricci got 78.
Yeah.
So he's right there.
Yeah. And I got no problem with it, because, like I said, that to me was the most blaring thing that stood out differently last year, because the defense was leaps and bounds better than the year they went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were much better. Mm-hmm. And the offense, you lost the offensive coordinator, but other than that, the biggest loss was your guard, because you still had the same targets to throw to. You still had the same running back. You still had the same quarterback, but the only thing different was the offensive coordinator and your right guard, which was like a sieve most of the season. and you think about it, if you're Matt Ryan, that's what you see as you're backing up, too. That's literally right in your vision. So you see your guard getting blown up play after play.
Well,
it makes you want to get rid of the ball quicker.
Right. Well, and I think that's why they re-signed Ben Garland, because he's a versatile player. He filled in for Andy last year, but I always wonder. I actually had the chance to interview Sean Harlow back whenever he had just signed with the Falcons. So I hate to see that that's a guy that could plug right in. You drafted him less than a year ago, and he's already out of competition.
Yeah.
So is he either not ready to play? He's not ready to be a backup, but something has to give.
Yeah.
But it looks like through free agency moves, whether it's re-signing restricted free agents or going after Brandon Fusco, they're trying to build their line, which I love because I think that that's how teams get better. I think you build from the inside out.
Absolutely. Because the year that they went to the Super Bowl, not many people know it, but they were the only team in the NFL to have its starting 5 linemen the entire season.
Which is so rare.
That's crazy
Right.
rare. That's crazy rare. Just usually somebody gets dinged. Because the thing people don't understand is towards the end of the season, nobody on the team doesn't have some kind of injury or hurt or something, but they play through it. I mean,
sure.
Mac played with a broken foot in the Super Bowl.
Because why would you not?
Yeah, it's
you
like,
can't
dude,
miss
you're not
that.
getting me off the field. What are you kidding me? I
Right.
played in Cleveland my entire career. I get to go to the playoffs, especially the Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit it out. It ain't happening.
Well, and especially those guys in the trenches, they're tough.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of favoritism towards them.
I wonder
However,
why.
I wonder why. But
For those of you who don't know, Miss Bostic, her dad, was one of the Hogs that played for the Washington Redskins. What, did he get 3 rings, did he?
3 rings.
Yeah,
But he's not all that tough. He's
Oh,
probably
he's a big
he's
teddy
probably
bear.
listening and he's like, oh, she's giving away my secrets.
Yeah, call us in, Dad, 404-603-8770. Call her out on that. Big teddy bear, huh? I don't know about that.
But they're tough.
Yeah,
And
tough
even-
teddy bears, right?
Tough teddy bears.
There you
He's
go.
not so tough anymore because he's old. But I appreciate
Ooh.
the line because I think that people always say, oh, the quarterback. And it's like, no, he didn't have time. It's not the quarterback's fault.
Yeah.
It's the line's fault. But if we could address line deals,
Mm-hmm.
then everything works better. Your quarterback plays better. Your receivers have time to run their routes. You score more touchdowns.
Yep,
Everyone's
absolutely.
happy.
Because that was the biggest drop. They had like 31 points a game the year they went to the Super Bowl, and then last year it was like 17. That's a huge drop-off. That's ginormous drop-off. And when your defense got that much better, I thought it was going to be easier for them to get back to the playoffs. But once again, some of it is stupid play calling. I'm not gonna give Sarkisian an easy pass on this, but he's never played in the NFL.
He
He's
just
never
plugged
coached in
in.
NFL.
This is his first year.
Right.
Let's give
And
him,
what they
let's give
asked him to
learning
do
curve.
also is very difficult, to learn somebody else's offense. Instead of bringing in your offense, he was told to use Shanahan's offense.
Absolutely.
And how do you learn that different terminology? You've been a coach the whole time and you're doing something, and then you have to learn somebody else's terminology, the way that they call things. But to me, the other aspect is still, and I'm not giving Matty Ice any pass on this, you're a 10-plus year veteran in the NFL. I don't care what the offensive coordinator calls. You're on the field. You see things happening. If there's a pass play called and you see that it's an easy run play to the audible, you were within the 10-yard line with 4 plays. You didn't run the ball once. I'm sorry, that's stupid. How much do we pay Devontae Freeman to be the running back? Why? You're not going to give him the ball. You're going to try to throw it to Julio. Everybody on planet Earth knew he was going to try to throw it to Julio. So somebody's wide open. The running back's definitely got a bigger lane to run in. And that's just, if you're the quarterback, and I will even go back to the Super Bowl when Shanahan was calling passes from the 22-yard line well within Matt Bryant's kicking range. I mean, he literally could have taken a knee 3 times and kicked the field goal and won the Super Bowl. But no, he ran the play that the offensive coordinator called, sacked one time, holding again, and now you're out of field goal range. So as a veteran, and if you get a big contract, buddy, you come in here, be like Ben Roethlisberger. If you see I don't care who the offensive coordinator is, if you see that this guy, the linebackers are in and they're blitzing, you're audible. You change to another play. That's the whole idea of being an NFL quarterback and getting paid $84 million a year guaranteed, is you have to make decisions on the field to allow your team the best chance to win. And Matty is short in that. And as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, he is short in that area. He doesn't audible to the correct plays to help his team win the games. And that's where I have an issue with him. But they'll still sign him to a huge contract because Arthur Blank is very dedicated to his players. So
Well,
I'm sure he'll try to work
absolutely.
whatever he has to do. He still likes Mike Vick. And Mike Vick's a likable guy. I get that. But he was there by him the entire time, stood by him, and even wheeled him around in a wheelchair. When you got billionaires wheeling you around in a wheelchair, you're good.
You're doing something right.
You're doing something right. So what else is going on out there in football?
Oh my gosh, so much has happened. First of all, I saw a Richard Sherman 49ers jersey for the first time today, and it was
Weird.
the weirdest
It is weird.
thing ever.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, who do I think has made the best moves in free agency and who has made the worst moves? And
Right.
I was wondering, who do you think?
Wow. Because Arizona's done some weird things. They may have got a quarterback, but they give up the Honey Badger. Did you hear they released him?
Okay, I think the Honey Badger is so overrated.
He's overrated, but I'm just saying.
He had like, I'm not going to quote this right because I didn't write it down.
Right.
He was very unproductive last season. And so I think, you may have had your time at LSU, Honey Badger, but I don't have a whole lot of use for you.
Yeah. Well, some people never liked his attitude from word go, but I did see flashes of brilliance in college and even in the pros. And towards the end of last year, after he got over the fact that his knee was healed, so that's a big problem for some players. They don't get over the fact that you had an injury and they're healthy. The trainers may tell you you're healthy, but until in your mind you go out there and play with reckless abandon, that's how you got to the NFL, then you're just nursing that thing and you'll never reach your potential.
Right.
And towards the end of the year, I did see him, Matthew, actually playing hard and throwing his body around like he had done previously in his career. So he's going to find a home. Somebody will find him. But just to be released, he's one of the bigger names to just literally be released.
Well-
And Sue down in Miami is another one.
Miami, I'm talking about the Dolphins. Hello, you released Danny Playoff?
Yeah.
I was shell-shocked whenever I heard that the Patriots were, parting ways with Malcolm Butler because I just think that he's going to go to Tennessee. He has a chip on his shoulder after coming off an ACL injury, being benched.
Yeah. He still doesn't know why he got benched.
Right.
According to him.
There's reasons.
Yeah,
but
there's always reasons.
There's always a reason. He was
Belichick-
unproductive.
Bel-
with
he
a
said-
couple
he said
of
no
days
to
before.
Belichick.
Right.
That's reason enough.
But you he goes away, and then your clutch player, Danny Amendola, Danny Playoff, you let walk.
Amendola.
You can't. Yeah, you cannot. You can't coach clutch.
Yeah.
And he has been a clutch player for them. He's probably the only reason that they went to the Super Bowl for catching that.
Oh, man,
and so
some weird
now
catches.
you are putting all your eggs in one basket, hoping that
Gronk is going to be
Gronk
everything.
is healthy, and
he's very injured for being such a big guy. He gets injured a lot.
and Julian Edelman.
Mhm.
Julian Edelman's your guy.
Yeah.
And I was just surprised because I think that he fits so well in that system.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to see them let him walk, and then also the Packers letting Jordy Nelson go.
Yeah, and he'd been there forever. Yeah, literally, he's been there a long time, and they were such a different team when he wasn't on the field. So that shows you how much a bigger part of the offense that he was, and you just let these guys walk.
When you break a Packers record for a wide receiver quarterback duo with 65 touchdowns, you don't let White Lightning go.
Yeah,
He offered to take a pay cut because he
Wow.
wanted to finish his career in
I just don't get that.
Green Bay. It's a business decision.
Yeah, it's there's really not a lot of loyalty anymore, and that's why I said it is a rarity what we have here in Arthur Blank, because he is really loyal to a fault in some degrees. But you see these other guys out there, and Jerry Jones will trade away his mother if he thinks he's going to get to the playoffs doing that. And the other thing is until Dallas gets a coach, they're not going to be back in the playoffs and big like they were. They haven't had a coach for years. I'm sorry, but that guy's he's not a coach. He does what Jerry says. That's what he does. That's not coaching.
I think they're going to be good this year.
You think they will?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do love the quarterback. I think they've got a great quarterback and running back combination. And even Des Bryant is good in his moments. He has his moments. But I think that until they get a coach that can come in there and change the mindset and actually provide some leadership, I just don't see it. I really have not seen it for years in Dallas. And that's why they haven't won a championship.
I think that we always talk about players. But what my focus would be if I was in charge is culture. I think that people downplay culture in a team so much. And that's why I think the Eagles were so successful this year, because they had such a tight-knit group. And that's what I love about the Falcons, covering them. You know, brotherhood is real.
I was about to say.
The guys get it. They are there for each other. They're going to show up on Sunday. And it's not just Sunday. It's Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that a lot of times it doesn't matter who you sign or how much they're playing them. If you don't have a positive, close culture, your team is going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that, because the brotherhood thing took them, and I think that brotherhood thing that started with the Falcons, I think that the SEAL training that they took before the season, I think that really brought into their minds what it took to be a unit, because I was in a Special Forces unit myself, and you have to depend on that guy next to you. I mean, for your life. And I think that that's what they portrayed to these guys when they did this training with them. Because, man, they were all about the brotherhood, and that drove them all the way to the Super Bowl with a mediocre defense at best that year. I mean, they played better in the playoffs than they had the whole season defensively. They were doing great. When you shut Green Bay down and, you know, keep them from scoring anything in the first half, that just doesn't happen against Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So they did what they had. They stepped up their game. And they were they were stomping the dog crap out of the Patriots. You know, I mean, I'm still lost at how you lose that game. Like I said, it's one of those
Still
deals
hurts. It will never not hurt.
Well, and once again, you know, Shanahan was trying to show off for his new team rather than do what it took to win the game. He was trying to embarrass the Patriots. Dude, that's stupid. Don't try to embarrass anybody. Win the game. Do the things that it takes to win the game. Run the clock. That is your friend when you have a huge lead. You pass the ball, you're a moron. I don't care where you're at, you're just a moron. And that's what hurt us. And I think that the brotherhood thing is still going on. And I love the defense. Like I said, I love it. No, we're going to have to replace Poe. That's a big replacement in the middle. But they can do that through the draft. There's some good guys in there. They're talking about Tevin Bryan, defensive tackle for Florida, or the guy from Alabama. What's his name? That's right, Deron Payne. So you've got there's a lot of big guys that are coming out this year that they can get in the draft and put in there to replace Poe, because when you got some big muscles like that in the middle, it makes it really tough to run, and that's what you need as a defense. And the speed that the Falcons play at, you're not going to go around the edge on them too often. So if you can stop them from going right up the middle and get those big runs, and they can do that in the draft. I think that they can find the guys they need in the draft. And I'd still like to see him get a good free safety. I'm still not really happy with how we are in the free safety department and that. You need a guy that's a ball hawk back there that can run down some dudes. And they were some guys in the combine that I was like, wow, man, they had a linebacker, the guy from Central Florida, runs under a 4.5, 40, and he's a linebacker. Man, he's going to be great. I hope he gets everything he deserves. He's the one with the hand.
The one hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just he's done everything. And I hope he gets a huge contract. And he's just a poster boy for what it takes to give everything to be on the field, because that's what you're doing. He led his team to a quote national championship,
which I think is also still ridiculous. UCF, you're not champions. Let it be heard here for the 100,000th time.
I get where you're coming
Everyone has
from,
always said it.
But the system's broke. The system is broke. When you only allow 4 teams to play for the national
fix the
championship.
system? You think you're going to go into an 8-team playoff system?
8 should be the most in the least.
No way.
Well, the reason why I'm saying it, how do you leave an undefeated team out? How do you leave one of the Power 5 conferences out? You see what I'm saying? You've got guys that deserve to be playing for a national championship that will never get the opportunity with the system we got now.
I think that was the same argument made for bowl games, and now bowl games mean nothing.
You're right.
Everyone can go to a bowl.
Yeah. They've got teams that go to bowl just barely over 500. I
exactly.
Know. You got to have 6
so
wins.
I think that whenever you start talking about people saying, "Oh, well, you really deserve to go to the playoffs," maybe you did, but the committee says otherwise.
Well, had Central Florida played Georgia Tech, because they had that rain out in the game because of the hurricane that was coming through, had they played that game against Georgia Tech and beat them soundly, then they may have been in the consideration. But because they didn't play that game and they didn't have this high caliber of competition, they weren't even in the conversation.
I think that
But they beat the crap out of Auburn, and Auburn beat Georgia, and Auburn beat Alabama.
Auburn was also a rundown team with nothing to play for whenever UCF beat them.
You can't make an excuse like that for a team.
I'm making that excuse because
can't make
people
an
made the
excuse
same
for a team.
excuse when Clemson beat Auburn when it was the first game of the year. Oh, well, Auburn really wasn't that good at that point.
Yeah.
When Georgia beat them, they were great. They had hit their stride.
Well, that point being is that if you don't come to play every weekend, then you're not a good team. You got to come every week. And Georgia came every week except for the Auburn game. I think they played worse at the Auburn game than they did all season. Because if I was the coach, the first time when they played in Auburn and got the butt whooped. I think that if they would have put Eason in at halftime in that game, Georgia stood a good chance of winning the national championship. Because Fromm doesn't have the arm that Eason's got. Eason had a cannon, and now Eason's gone. You can't
take out your starter.
Well, but Eason was the starter, and Kirby Smart has said over and over again, you cannot lose your position by being injured.
I think that's silly, though.
I know it's silly, so don't say it.
Because he did.
He did. He lost his position because he got injured.
But also, let's not promote that because of injury. Jake Fromm won that position.
He was given the position because if
he
won
was
the position,
he was given the position, but he stayed there. It's kind of like getting your foot in the door. You can get your foot in the door, and then you stay there because
I think Fromm managed the game.
There. Yeah.
Well, I think he did the part that he had to do to help the team to get where it is. But was he the best quarterback on the team? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Once again, I don't think he was the best quarterback on the team.
I don't think Georgia goes to the national
but he
championship.
Fromm may not even be in there next year because he got a new guy coming in this year that they say is better than Eason and Fromm combined. And so he may be the starting quarterback this year. Fromm may have had his year.
I don't think Georgia goes to the national championship if Fromm's not playing.
Wow, that's a bold statement. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us tonight on the Sports Guy and so much more. Alicia Bostic, thank you so very much for coming on the show and helping me out tonight, man. We just love you. Can't wait to have you back on. We always talk about some cool stuff, and it's always fun and enjoyable. So we thank you once again for joining us on the Sports Guy and so much more show. I'll be back next Thursday, same Sky time, same Sky channel, right here on the Real 1100 WWWE.
Hey, that guy's all right. Oh, that's Sports Guy. Thanks for joining us today on the Sports Guy and so much more show. See you next week, same Sky time, same Sky channel.
If you're a single man under
Miss Alicia Bostic, she's out there doing her thing. Yay!
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Sports Guy and so much more show. I appreciate you listening. I love you so much. I hope you have a great day. And all you guys, thanks for listening to the Sports Guy and so much more show. We'll be back next week, 7 o'clock. Love you guys.